Hello everyone, I'm Kauser from Qualitative Research Hub. Welcome back to another lesson about pilot case studies. In this lesson, we are going to focus on what is the pilot case study, the reasons for conducting a pilot case studies, and the potential problems of pilot case study. First, we are going to define the term pilot case study. The pilot case studies are mini versions of full-scale study, also called the feasibility studies. Now the question arises, why you need to use pilot study when actually you're going to do the main study? Pilot case studies are used to learn about the techniques that you will be using in actual research scenario. Pilot case studies are also used as a specific pre-testing of a particular research instrument, such as questionnaires, an interview schedule. Pilot case studies may be conducted for several reasons unrelated to the criteria of selecting the final cases in the case study design. This helps us to understand within the case studies what can possibly go wrong. Don't worry, we'll gradually learn the lessons, how to fix those problems. Before proceeding further, we need to understand that conducting a pilot case study does not guarantee success in the main study, but it does increases the likelihood. There may be several reasons for conducting the pilot case studies. More often, the pilot case studies will help you to refine your data collection plans with respect to both the content of the data and the procedure to be followed. In this regard, it is important to note that a pilot test is not a pre-test. To understand the difference between the pilot case studies and a pre-test, we can say that pilot case is more formative. It is more assisting you to develop relevant lines of question, possibly even providing some conceptual clarifications for the research design as well. In contrast, pre-test is the occasion for the formal dress rehearsal, in which data collection plan is used as the final plan as faithfully as possible. We are going to list down several reasons to conduct the pilot case studies, which will help you to understand that why the researchers need to go for pilot case study before actually conducting the final main study. Pilot case studies help developing and testing adequacy of research instrument. They also help in assessing the feasibility of full-scale study survey. It helps you to design the research protocol, assessing whether the research protocol is realistic and workable, establishing whether the sampling frame and techniques are effective. The pilot case studies are really helpful in assessing the likely success of proposed recruitment approaches. It also provides you with the guidelines to identify the logistical problems which might occur using proposed method, estimating variability in outcomes to help determining the sample size. For qualitative research, the researchers usually go for the small sample size. Collecting preliminary data. Another useful way to conduct a pilot case study, which is going to help you to determine what resources, finance, staff are needed for the planned study. It also helps you to assess the proposed data analysis techniques to uncover potential problems. It helps you to develop a research question and the research plan. It also helps you to develop kind of a training a researcher in as many elements of the research process as possible. Pilot case studies sometimes are also used for convincing funding bodies that the research team is competent and knowledgeable. It also helps you to convince funding bodies that the main study is feasible and worth funding. Convincing other stakeholders that the main study is worth supporting. These are several reasons to conduct the pilot case study before you actually conduct the main case study. While conducting the pilot case study, the researchers might face some problems. It should be recognized pilot studies may have a number of limitations. These may be that the completing a pilot case study successfully is not a guarantee of success for full-scale survey or the main study. Sometimes people believe that if the pilot case studies are done very well, there is a likelihood that the final main study will be successful, but not in all the cases. For example, although pilot study findings may offer some indications of likely size of response rate in main survey, they cannot guarantee this because they do not have a statistical foundation and are nearly always based on small numbers, and the problems may not become obvious until the large-scale study is conducted. There may be some other limitations for conducting the pilot case studies, such as contamination. The contamination may arise in two different ways. Number one, where the data from the pilot study are included in the main study, or number two, where pilot participants are included in the main study but new data are collected from these people. These contamination problems may be more visible or vigilant in quantitative research, but for qualitative research, contamination is less of concern. In qualitative research, where researchers often use some or all of their pilot data as part of the main study, the qualitative data collection and the analysis is often progressive in that a second or subsequent interview in a series should be better than the previous one, as the interviewer may have gained insight from previous interviews, which are used to improve interview schedules and specific questions. Some have therefore argued that in qualitative approaches, a separate pilot case studies are not necessary. For example, a qualitative interviewer conducting 15 focus group interviews will listen to the recording or read through the transcripts of first 3 or 4 in order to improve the questions. The way of introducing the issues into the group interviews or even to add new topics. Thus, although there is no specific pilot study, analysis of the earlier focus group may help improve the later ones. However, Franklin and Bloor argue that piloting provides the qualitative researcher with a clear definition of focus of the study, which in turn helps the researcher to concentrate data collection on a narrow spectrum of project analysis topics. The piloting of qualitative approaches can also be carried out if the researchers lack confidence or is a novice, particularly when using the interview techniques. Problems may also arise where a pilot study requires a significant investment of resources, time, population, etc. In contrast, funding bodies may be reluctant to fund a further study if the pilot case study is substantial. It can cause disruptions in getting the funds for the main study. In the end, we'll learn more about case study selection process in the next lecture. Keep watching my videos for more lectures on qualitative case study search methods, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates. Bye!